In this video, I'll show you how to get up and running with Japan's EDINET API so that you can access financial data, disclosures, and filings from Japanese companies and investment funds. The API is free to use, and with it, we can extract key financial data and insights from a major global market. This combination of rich data and automated retrieval could be a valuable tool for investment research and analysis. All the code in this video is on GitHub with the link in the description, along with EDINET links to get started. So I'll show you how to get an API key, and then we'll look at some Python, including a simple screener tool that finds and downloads financial documents from a custom watch list of Japanese companies. Japan's Financial Services Agency, or FSA, maintains EDINET as an electronic disclosure system for regulatory reporting. It's where all publicly listed companies, major fundraising entities, and investment funds in Japan file their disclosure documents, making them accessible to the public. You can think of it as the Japanese version of the SEC's EDGAR system in the United States. I'm using version 2 of the EDINET API. You'll need a free API key, which requires an EDINET account. The registration process can be confusing, so here's a quick guide. First, go to the EDINET login page and click the link in the bottom right to sign up. Enter your email and click the first button to receive a verification code at your email. Once you get the code, enter it and also set and update a new password. Next, you'll need to register a phone number for multi-factor authentication. You'll be sent a verification code. Enter it on the following screen. Once you've verified your phone number, you're almost done, but you might need to disable pop-up blockers in your browser because the last step asks for your name and phone number in a pop-up window like this. It took me a few attempts to resolve. If you run into trouble, try switching to Safari. That worked for me. Finally, once you've submitted your name and phone number, your API key should be displayed. Once you've got an API key, keep it private. I put my key in a hidden file named .env, which stays out of my Git repository, but makes my key value accessible in the code execution environment. Here I am referencing the key value in the code. To do this, just create a file called .env and add a line that sets the EDINET API key variable to your own key value. Run pip install python-env to get the library. Our API key is ready, so let's prepare our first request. We'll focus on two main endpoints: the documents endpoint, which returns info about filings submitted on a particular date, and the documents/docID endpoint, which returns the actual contents of a specific document. First, we'll call the documents endpoint to obtain info about filings from a particular date. This is a function I wrote called disclosure documents, and it makes a GET request to the documents endpoint. The request includes some parameters like my API key and the date I'm requesting. And the documents endpoint supports a parameter named type, which can be set to 1 or 2. A value of 1 returns just the metadata for a particular date. Things like the number of filings, while 2 gives you both the metadata and the actual list of results from that date. You can see here that the length of the results is the same as the number of results that was given to us in the metadata result. If you're interested in filings from a specific company, look up its EDINET code. EDINET codes are used to identify companies and funds in the system, and you can get the latest list from the EDINET website. For quick reference, I put these codes into a Google Sheet that anyone can view. We'll use these codes to build a custom watch list of companies. How about filtering based on the type of report? EDINET has over 30 different report types. You can find the full list on page 86 of the API documentation. As an example, let's say I'm mainly interested in reports like a 10K or 10Q in the US, which should be codes 160 and 140 in EDINET. I wrote a function that filters the results from the documents endpoint response to include only documents of type 140 or 160 that were filed by a specific list of EDINET codes. So I can call this function to get back only filings of report type 140 from Mizuho Bank, for example. And now with the addition of the document type code. Let's do a quick recap. After preparing our API key, we made a request to the documents endpoint to obtain info on filings from a particular date. and then filtered the response to include only documents filed by the companies we're interested in, and also narrowed it down to specific document report types, similar to a 10K or 10Q in the US. Now that we have a list of documents, we still need to get the actual contents of those documents. To do that, we'll make a request to the second endpoint I mentioned, the documents/docid endpoint. Let's say there's a document in my list filed by a company that I'm interested in, Mizuho Financial Group. I'll take that document's docid value, S100 SW62 there, and pass it into a function that I wrote called getDocument. GetDocument will call the documents/docid endpoint. The API endpoint also supports a parameter called type that lets you specify the format of the document contents. In this case, I'm requesting the document in CSV format. You can experiment with different format types to suit your needs. And this function will return an HTTP response object. So let's do something with the Mizuho document. I'm going to assign it to a variable called Mizuho response. And I'm going to import a function that I wrote called saveDocument to save that response. It will allow me to specify the name of the output path. Here I'm going to call it mizuho.zip. And in my case, I'm getting back some zipped.csv files, which are saved directly to my computer. And when I unzip it, the document usually is going to contain a few different CSV files. One of them will probably be noticeably larger than the others, and that's likely the main part of the report. I've uploaded this quarterly report to a Google Sheet so you can check it out. It's got fairly extensive financial data along with business commentary by the company's management. That's all for this video on getting started with the EDINET API. I've only scratched the surface. There's a lot I could do with LLMs, for instance, but hopefully this can get you up and running. Again, don't forget to check out the GitHub link in the description for all of the Python code. Thanks for watching. See you next time.